Hey guys, I'm coming on here to talk about a few things for Americans that are thinking about coming to the Philippines to retire. A few things that you want to research and figure out your expenses, what it's going to cost, and the steps that you need to do. I'm hoping that this video will help you just put a little light on what you need to do first. The first thing you want to do is to really research the area of the Philippines that you want to try or explore. The one I recommend is, the biggest one is Dumaguete City. I've done my research on it, and there's many Americans already retired there, and they have a group that they meet like on certain days. I think it's Saturday. They get together and they fellowship and socialize and enjoy food or whatever during the evening, and it helps each other from being so far from America, and you get to know other foreigners that way. But Dumaguete City is the one I researched, but I don't live in Dumaguete City. My plans changed because of my Filipina. She lives just northwest of Davao City, a little town called Makalala, and Kittapalad City. I have a hard time pronouncing the words. You just have to bear with me. But anyways, the first thing you want to do is have that commitment and do your research. And if you really are serious about coming and retiring in the Philippines, and you do have Social Security coming in, not the SSI, but the regular Social Security, you could still come to the Philippines and still draw your Social Security. But if you have SSI, you cannot, because after 30 days, Social Security will stop paying the SSI payments. So you have to have the regular disability or the full retirement disability or Social Security, one of the two. It's either SSDI or regular Social Security. That's the only ones that you could still draw living in the Philippines. Another note about the having Social Security is that your Medicare does not work. Your insurance and your, like I say, if you got Humana, any Advantage plans, they do not work in the Philippines. So my advice, if you are planning to come to the Philippines, is not to cancel your medical or your Medicare before you leave. I would test the waters first. Say, give the Philippines maybe 3 months or 6 months, and if you like it, then there are steps that you can do at the U.S. Embassy in Manila that you can cancel your Medicare premium, so that won't be coming out of your check. It's just a waste of money if you're planning to stay in the Philippines. So unless you are planning to do what some foreigners do, they may stay 6 months in the Philippines and then they may go back to America for 6 months. If you have the financial backing to do that or whatever, and if that's an option on the table, then I would suggest keeping your Medicare if you're planning on going back and forth from the Philippines and back to America. That's just the option on the table. But if you are planning, if you come here and you plan on staying here permanently as long as you can, then the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to cancel your Medicare Part B, and it saves you the Medicare premium, which is over $200 US, and that extra $200 is like $400 in the Philippines. So that would be an option for you on the table to consider. Now, after you get the basic understanding of how it works, is that now going back to SSI. Now remember, if you draw SSI, they only keep it going for 30 days. And I've heard and I've seen where some foreigners still get their SSI after 30 days, but see, if you get caught, then you have to back up and pay that. So it's best just to be honest up front. And if you get SSI, just expect that you will not have that coming in if you plan on retiring in the Philippines. So you got to have a secondary income. And I would suggest that get you a YouTube channel and try to start making money from it. Have that as a secondary income. And so when you come to the Philippines, you have the YouTube income still coming in. So that's an option too. Or other ways you can make money. Either way you make money, just remember you have to have that second income if you have SSI. The very first step after you get past your planning of coming to the Philippines, then you must get your passport. If you have not got a U.S. passport yet, then there's a process that you have to fill out the paperwork to apply for a U.S. passport. And the very first thing you need is your real ID. It's got where I'm from, West Virginia, there was a star that they put on your driving license, and it lets them know that you have the real ID. So when you file for a U.S. passport, the real ID will be sufficient with your birth certificate to apply for the U.S. passport. That's the two documents that you need. And where I lived in West Virginia, I lived in a little town called Chatteroy. So I would have to go to get my passport. I had to go to Logan Post Office, and I applied for it there, and they was real nice about it. I mean, it was short and sweet. It cost me right around $185, and they ship it off to get it processed, and they take your photo, everything right there in the post office. So it's a very easy step. It's just a little time consuming, so expect to be at the post office for at least 30 minutes to an hour because of the process that you have to go through. And if you're not near Logan, I'm sure that you just do your research in which post office that is nearby that does U.S. passports. Not all post offices do it, so you got to do your research on which post office does the U.S. passport application. So that's another thing that you must do to get ready to come out, to fly out of the U.S. or to fly in general. If you just fly state to state, you still have to have a passport. So that is one thing, and your passport lasts for 10 years. So once you get it, you're good for 10 years. And then you can renew it after that. It's basically just a easy process to do. Once the post office sends your application off, it took mine about 3 weeks to come in the mail. They sent it into mail, priority mail, and I got it. I'm thinking about 3 weeks. I ordered it. I got the application sent in the 1st of December, and I've got my passport right around December 24th, right before Christmas, or right after Christmas. I can't remember, but it was like 3 weeks. So, and expect that your passport may take up to a month, or maybe even 2 months. It just depends how busy they are, or whatever the case may be. And then you have to have your original birth certificate to go with your application, and they will mail off your birth certificate with the application for the U.S. passport. So just remember, you're not going to get your birth certificate back. Your birth certificate will come back in a separate mail. In the mail, it'll come in a separate day than your passport. So that's just something to expect. Your passport and your birth certificate is in 2 different envelopes, but they will mail it back to you. And I got mine back just before my flight date, so that's a good thing. Then when you get your passport, then if you're really committed to fly to the Philippines, like I did, then you do your research about your plane ticket. Your plane ticket is it works by how many layovers you got. The less layovers that you got, the more expensive it is. But the more layovers you got and the more time consuming that you go through, the cheaper your ticket. So depending on your preference, then that's how your cost of your ticket's going to be. For me, I got more time than money, so I didn't care how many layovers, or I cared, but not as much as like a one way plane ticket all the way from the U.S. to the Philippines. I mean, I had to pay musical chairs, go from one city to another, just to make it to the Philippines, because my ticket was so cheap and reasonable that I didn't care about the layovers. And it seemed like the layovers that I did, it seemed like I didn't even have time to breathe. By the time I found my gate at the terminals, it was time to fly back out. So the layovers wasn't that bad. And you got to expect when you go to if you've never been to the U.S. airports, the big ones like L.A. or Chicago or Charlotte, North Carolina, the real big one is L.A. But if you've never been to one, you can get lost very easy. They're huge, and you have to go by the digital menus, or what you want to call them, on the walls. That's display cases. It tells you your gates and what plane that you get on. So you got to find your gate, and then you sit by until they tell you it's time to board. But it's very simple, very easy, and many people, very nice people, helped me, because that was my first time flying, and they was going back to the Philippines, and they helped me. As soon as I got to LA, I met some Filipinos that were going back home, and they helped me from LA all the way back to Manila. So that was very comfortable for me with their help, and I really thank them for that. And God has angels all around us. We may not see them, but He does. He's got angels, and they sure were angels for me. And they made it so much easier for me. If you never flew before, I never flew before, and it wasn't that bad. Now, your first flight, it may get you, because it's like being on a roller coaster, and your body has to adjust to the speed and the altitude and all that. But once you do your first airplane flight, then the second one, third one, it's not that bad. And you got to remember that the plane does not keep the airplane in the air. It's the Lord that keeps the airplane in the air. So whatever God's will is, it's going to happen. So just put your faith in Him and enjoy the ride. And if you have the money and the means to get a first class ticket, by all means get you a first class ticket, and the less layovers. So if you can afford it, say a $8,000 plane ticket, most times you can just fly from, say, Charlotte, North Carolina, all the way to Manila. You have to go to Manila first before you go anywhere in the Philippines. You have to check in with the immigration office in Manila at the airport, and you have to go through the customs and all that with your luggage. And for three, the airplanes will usually give you 3 bags, or some of them will give you 2 bags, one carry-on and one to put in cargo. So I ordered the extra one, so altogether for 3 luggage bags for me was like $90 US. So that wasn't too bad, and all 3 of them was very heavy. So I would say about 140 pounds worth of luggage, and for $90 US wasn't that bad at all. And that's carrying a laptop and everything else. So $90 was not that bad. And if you need more help with what you can bring or what you can't bring, just remember, if you there's rules that you have to go by, and but America and the Philippines was so friendly. They made it so easy about if it comes to your luggage and what you can carry and what you can't carry. Mostly, it's just very simple process. It's a little time consuming if it's packed, but for the most part, it's very simple. And another thing that you have to do before you come to the Philippines, you have to get what they call an onward ticket. An onward ticket, it costs us maybe $20 US, and what you do is you order a onward ticket to, say, Thailand or Cambodia or wherever you want to go, Vietnam. You put that on the onward ticket and you pay the fee, the $20 fee. And before you fly out of America, you have to activate the onward ticket so that the Philippines immigration will know that you're not planning to stay more than your 30-day free visa. So it's just to let them know that you're a tourist and that you're planning to go to that next country within the time limit that you purchase when you purchase your onward ticket. If you need more information on that, just let me know in the comments. I picked Thailand, and it was like $17. It was not that bad. The only problem I ran into with the onward ticket is that I didn't know I was supposed to activate it before I went to LA International Airport. So just before you leave America, make sure you activate it. I think it's within 72 hours before you get to the Philippines that you have to have it activated. So just remember to activate that before, say if it takes you one day to get to the LA airport, that the airport that you're leaving America with, just activate it before you get there. That's just a tip that I ran into. I ran into trouble because I didn't know to activate my onward ticket before I got to LA. So I ran into a little bit of issue. I had to go find me a place to sit down after standing in line for about 2 hours. I had to go find me a place to sit down to activate my onward ticket, and they finally got it activated for me, and I went back into the checkout before boarding, going outside the U.S. So that's just an extra tip. Now remember, when you come to the Philippines, you have your first visa is free. It's 30 days. The Philippines will give you 30 days for free. So it won't cost you nothing. You just have to activate it. You can download their app on your phone if you got Android. I'm sure they got one for iPhone. I've got Android, and you can download the app, and then you just register under the Philippines Gov app, and then you get your visa started the date that your flight date lands in the Philippines. So that's when you start your first 30 days. That just lets them know that you're planning to be in the Philippines on that date, and that's when the 30 days begin. So, and you can do that on their government app on your phone. I think I covered everything, but I came to Davao City, which I had to land in Manila first, and then I had to get another plane after immigration. All that, I had to go from Manila to Davao City on another airplane. In the Philippines, it's like you got to jump island to island, and there's two ways you can do it. You can do it by ferry, or you can do it by flying. The ferry is cheaper, but it takes longer. It's time consuming. So if you go be, say, in Davao City, it may take you a day or two just to go from ferry to ferry. But if you go on an airplane, you can be from Manila to Davao City within an hour and a half. So that's something to consider too. But I've seen many ride the ferry and use the airplanes. So that's just something that you have to figure out before you get to the Philippines and which area that you're planning to explore. Like I said, I did my homework on Dumaguete City, and if you're really set to come to the Philippines, I would highly recommend researching Dumaguete City and everything that you can do there. And you can get like a real nice condo with everything included, Wi-Fi, electric, water. You can get everything for about $500 US every month. Everything, all but your food. So that and there are nice places. Now, another thing, before you come to the Philippines, and you remember there's going to be a culture shock. That's going to be for a different video, but I'll talk about that in my next video. This is just for your passport and your onward ticket, and a little bit about the basic about flying. If you can, that's like I said, if you can afford first class and a direct flight, say from LA to Manila, no layover, that is the best way to go. But you're going to pay a good amount US to do that. Average ticket you're looking at between 4,000 and 8,000. It just depends if it's first class or just economy. First class will be more expensive. I've seen tickets go as high as 15,000 just one way. So you have to figure out what you can afford and what you can't. And I hope that this will help you all. And just remember that I love it here. I have no desire to go back anytime soon. Yes, I'm very picky when it comes to food, but at the same time, it's more peaceful here, and the people here are very friendly, and they welcome us with open arms, and we just need to respect and love everybody that we meet in the Philippines, because one day we may need their help, and it always pays to be kind to everybody that you meet, no matter who it is. We all bleed red. We're not no different, and I pray the Lord will keep us humbled and to seek Him and His mercy every day. Americans are no better than the Philippines, and the Philippines are no better than Americans. We have to realize we're all in the same world, and there's no difference in the eyes of God. And He created all of us, and we just have to respect one another and love one another. Try to keep our complaints down. Yes, as Americans, we are very spoiled, but in the Philippines, they don't take nothing for granted. They appreciate everything we do for them, and everything they do for us. We have to appreciate it just as much as they do us. So love and respect one another, and always seek God in prayer. If you plan on coming to the Philippines, remember to pray fervently first, and to see if it's God's will that you should come here. And you take it one day at a time. And I really hope that if you plan on coming to the Philippines to retire, that you find happiness and joy. And if you're seeking a Filipina or a Filipino for love, I don't see no problem. You will find one, and you will find love, because there's so many loving single people here, and they love foreigners. And until next time, guys, I'm out of here.